Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays on the Intuitive Prospector channel. Inspirational messages for the week ahead. Get you up, get you moving, get you going, get you inspired. Gonna just take a second as some people are sharing out the page. I see some shares going out. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm Marc Lainhart. I'm here in Seattle, Washington, the winter Seattle, Washington. It actually has been snowing all night, so we've got a couple inches on the ground. And just want to thank you for hanging out with me here on the Intuitive Prospector page for a inspirational show for the week ahead. Today we're going to be talking about a cool thing that's I just rolled out a new project, but I'm going to be talking for the next 25 minutes or so how the unseen world connects to our world and things that you can look for, what I call signs, symbols, synergy, synchronistic events of the spirit world. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, it's not something I always believed in until after my own tragedies, my own near-death experience. My life was impacted by murder, brain cancer, multiple sclerosis, both brothers, my father, all at the same time. So it changed how I see the world. Now, I'm not expecting all of you guys to believe what I believe or see what I see, but I want to bring some fun ways that the spirit world, the etheric world, a world within a world, if you will, that actually blends with our own world, can be tuned into and seen in different capacities. So thank you for joining me this morning. If you guys would be so kind, I'm going to just say good morning to a few people. Good morning, Mari. Good morning, Ari. Good morning, Rod. Good morning, Jeannie. Good morning, Mom. My mom's watching. Good morning, Karen. Kathy, good morning. Sandy. So, Lori, good morning. Deeps, good morning. So, okay. So, I got a couple people hanging out. If you want to share the page out to somebody that might get some benefit from this message, today's message, again, how the unseen spirit world connects with our world is today's topic. And I'm going to give you some tips. What's really cool about this, guys, is now these can be found through Alexa. So these tips will be running all through 2019. So if you have an Alexa or an Echo Pod, all you have to do is enable Positive Living. It's called Ariel's Positive Living. And Ariel is a spiritual community and group that I'm a part of as a member. And what you do is you just ask Alexa to turn on Inspired Living, and you'll get tips every single day through 2019, including these 15 tips that I'm going to share with you this morning about how the unseen world connects with us through our own physical journey, our own physical world, and our different senses. We have our five senses: see it, taste it, touch it, hear it, smell it, and we use all those senses together a lot. But there are other senses that you can use when working with your awareness, with your intuition, whether you're psychic or medium or a healer or a light worker or a mystic or a seer. I mean, there's a lot of different labels and names out there for people, but it's really just your own intuition, the language of your soul. And the first one that is out on Alexa this morning, or at least it was yesterday when we tested it, was we were talking about a body double, and what does that mean when you see a body double? So before I jump into the message of today, go ahead and just take a deep breath with me. Let's get into the magic of the moment, because that's all we're ever guaranteed in life is what we have right now. No, we can't do anything about the past, and there's definitely nothing we can do about the future. Our imagination creates a future, and our memories create a past. But it's really about the magic in the moment. And most importantly, have a cup of coffee. So today I've got my Imperial Death Trooper from Star Wars. You guys know that I'm a big Star Wars fan. So hopefully the connection will stick with us. We do have, it is snowing here in Seattle. We do have snow on the ground, and that pretty much shuts the city down a couple inches, if that. It's blowing pretty good. So we had a big storm hit us. This storm's moving across the United States, so I'm sure that this is going to hit the Midwest as well. So for my friends and colleagues in the Midwest, just stay safe out there. I know it's some historic low temperatures, below zero temperatures, so we just wanted to send our thoughts and prayers with those impacted by this big storm in the Midwest. If you are joining me, please let me know where you're from. After today's show, I go back and I do check messages. And if you want to help share out the page, for those that help share the page out at the end of this month, I do a free 30-minute reading. I pick one person, either who shares out the page or subscribes to my YouTube playlist. I have a YouTube playlist. Just touch the screen and the link will come up and you can subscribe to the playlist. It's called my Soul Adventures playlist. It's the same name as my monthly e-newsletter, Soul Adventures. Over 200 videos, hiking, diving, all Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, my Wednesday internet radio show, Inspired Living Radio. 4 seasons of that. I'll have my new snowshoeing adventure up shortly. We just went snowshoeing on Saturday for the last Saturday snowshoe of 2019. We're going to be moving into Forest Fridays next, so it's going to be a lot of fun getting out into nature. Our greatest teacher, our greatest healer, and a great way to connect. So, I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for hanging out. Let me turn my music down here a little bit. Again, make sure to like the Intuitive Prospector page. I do this every Monday morning starting right around 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Depends on the connection. I was a little bit late this morning trying to get the connection feed to light up. And let's see here. What am I looking for? I am looking for, there we go, a book, because I want to give you your totem animal spirit for the week, your numerology number for the week, and your crystal for the week, which is something that I like to do as inspirational messages for the week ahead. Again, this is a show that inspires you, guides you, gets you thinking outside the box. Maybe you're having a rough go. Just a reminder that February is the month of love. We're in the month of love, which means self-love, love for others, love for our planet, love for animals. So that is the theme this month, is love, which it's Valentine's Day. We saw that what am I trying to say? It's Monday, I need more coffee. Groundhog, there we go. The groundhog didn't see his shadow, so that means that there are just a few more weeks of winter and it's going to be an early spring. Lots of light, so excited for that. For those of you that watched the very boring Super Bowl yesterday, I missed my prediction by 2 points. I had predicted that the Patriots would win by a 12-point spread. The Patriots won by 10 points, but they did miss a field goal. Just to be fair, they did miss a field goal, which would have given them a 13-point win. I'd predicted 12, so I technically missed it by either 1 or 2. Something I like to have fun with when it comes to prediction, as a psychic medium, doing predictive work. And predictions are not always, the predictions of what we see are not always great, because we see things ahead as a seer. But that is something I try to do for the Super Bowl, is give a prediction. And it worked out, to the Patriots' favor. So we lived in Boston, so congratulations to the Patriots and their win in Super Bowl 53. And lots of fun. Okay. If you want to hang out with me for the Prospecting Q&A after show, that'll start right at 8:30. That is where I have a direct conversation with those that come back and join me. We can have readings, spiritual chats, psychic, numerology, intuition, awareness. If it's mediumship, if I do have a loved one that connects with me and has a message for you, I'll ask that you come on video and we can have a conversation live on Facebook Live, and that'll start right at 8:30 here, so about 20 minutes for the Prospecting Q&A after show. So again, if you want to get any of these tips, you can get these tips off my site at marclainhart.com. Just internet search the Intuitive Prospector. You can find me on a couple different professional sites. I'd love to do a little spiritual prospecting with you for your own spiritual goal. So today I'm talking about how the unseen world, and what I mean by the unseen world is what we see with our eyes. A lot of people want to see it first before they start believing things. And I always teach to believe, and then you start to see, and then you start to achieve. So believe it, see it, achieve it is something that I teach on. And a lot of times, if you just apply science to spirituality, and that's something that I like to do, is take a scientific approach, because I was very skeptical, guys, before I started doing this work. And like I said, it was my own experiences and tragedies that put me on this path. Maybe some of you are not there yet. That's okay, but in the grand scheme of things, from a scientific standpoint, if you look at the whole scale of frequencies and megahertz and hertz, and how we see and how our voice carries, and what we hear as far as decibels go, we're actually, in the whole grand scheme of the scale, we're actually quite blind, and we're quite deaf to what we can see and hear and know and taste and feel. And one of my favorite quotes from Charlie Chaplin is that we think too much and we feel too little, and the brain is always going. But when you start to disconnect, and I always teach about this, when you take the time to disconnect and reconnect to what's important for you on your journey, the world opens up. Amazing opportunities, experiences, people, situations. You might go to some part of the world that you never thought that you would go to. So what happens along the way is you start to realize that you're not alone on this journey. Now, some of you that might be feeling alone and have had, great loss in your life, like I have. I've lost a lot of people to the spirit world. The physical body's gone, but they're very much in tune and very much a part of our world. Like I said, I don't think of heaven and hell, and I don't want to discount anybody's belief system, However, I think of it as the spirit world, the etheric world, is a world within our own world, just at a different frequency, different vibration. Just like you tune in a radio station to try to find that frequency of where that frequency lies on a whole bandwidth of signal, the spirit world is very much the same way. And when you start to change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at start to change. Dr. Wayne Dyer teaches us that, and Eckhart Tolle teaches us that awareness is the greatest agent for change. And when you start to apply those to your life, and I've seen this firsthand with some of my clients, some of my friends, some of my family, that you realize that the spirit world is really just a thought away. They may be gone in body, but they're forever present in energy, memories, thoughts, pictures, and most importantly, love. So the first one that you can get off the Alexa application, if you've got Alexa or an Echo Pod, what is a body double? Body double is actually seeing someone in the physical world of our lives who looks and reminds us of a loved one in the spirit world and is a special love sign. So if you've ever seen that person, and I have, I've seen it a few times where I'm like, I had to take a double glance, a triple glance to be like, was that my real dad that I just saw? Was that my brother that I just saw? And that's somebody that's called a body double. That's one way, and I've got a bunch of tips I'm going to share with you depending on the time. But that's one way, called a body double, and it actually signifies a special love sign from your loved one, actually synchronizing, coordinating, however you want to look at that. The spirit world is a very intelligent place, full of love and guidance and knowledge, and they orchestrate these connections to where you get somebody that looks like a body double, and you're like, oh my gosh, and it reminds you of that person. So that's one way that the spirit world can really connect with you and remind you of their essence. Because if you think about it, guys, they don't have a voice anymore. The body is gone, but they're still very much alive in energy. And so how do you harness energy to create a voice? So recreate speech by our vocal cords. So we're actually taking a vibration sound, bouncing it off our vocal cords to create communications or speech. Very primitive if you think about the way of communications. I imagine as we evolve, 100,000 years from now, that we'll probably be connecting more telepathy, more mind to mind, more thoughts, because thoughts are energy, and energy always moves somewhere in the laws of physics as we understand it today. Energy always has to be moving somewhere. And so if you see somebody that's a body double that reminds you, just say hi to them. They're letting you know that they're very close to you on your journey, and they just sent a reminder, also called a body double, to you. So let me check the sound here. Hopefully you guys, the sound is okay. It's snowing here in Seattle, so hopefully the connection will stick. If you want to share out the page, please do so. Please subscribe to my YouTube playlist. For all new subscribers to my playlist, you're entered into a drawing at the end of this month of February for a free 30-minute drawing. I have picked the one person, or I should say the spirit world picked the one person. I have contacted you via messenger, private, because I don't know if everybody wants to have their name out there for a reading. So I do that privately. But you'll be entered into at the end of the month to have a free 30-minute reading with me. It could be intuition, it could be numerology, it could be psychic, it could be mediumship, just kind of see what happens. So subscribe to my playlist on YouTube, or make sure to like the Intuitive Prospector page, or turn on the notifications when I'm live, because I go live not just on Mondays. Sometimes I'll go live when I'm out on a hike or a dive or a soul adventure experience and try to share that experience with you. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm talking about how the unseen world, these guys, the unseen world, connects to our world. And as I look out my studio here today, it's blowing snow, and I always, this is how I teach for people that are new to spiritualism or mediumship or psychic abilities, is I say that the spirit world is very much like the wind. And we would all agree, or most of us would agree, that we can see a tree moving, which was the effects of the wind, but it is not the actual wind that we're seeing with our physical eye. We see the movement of the tree because it's the effect on the tree of the wind, but we don't actually see the wind with our eye. The spirit world is very much that same way. As we a lot of times feel the effects, we know that they're around, we can feel they're around, but we just don't see them like we want to. And most of us want to, and myself included, guys, we want to see our loved ones. We want to have that reunion. And you can have reunions in many different ways with your loved ones, with your animals that are in spirit, your grandparents, your parents, your son, your daughter, your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad. And another way that I have found, and again, I'm just sharing my experiences with you. It doesn't mean that it's scripture or that it's correct. I'm just sharing and inspiring my journey, because my journey took a complete 360, and where I thought I was going I thought I was going to be a firefighter working for the city of Seattle, and it didn't work out that way. The spirit world had a different calling for me, and it took me some years to get that calling under an understanding and an agreement of, you know, wanting to do this, and just what is it, and, you know, understanding through education and knowledge and mentoring to be able to do this today. So I've been on this journey professionally about 8 years now. Again, you can find me at marclainhart.com or internet search the Intuitive Prospector. But another way that they come through for me a lot is through the power of music. Music from the other side. It's what I call a kiss. Now, I don't mean a kiss. I mean like the rock band Kiss, like Kiss, kiss. And so when you get a kiss from heaven through the power of song, if you have a song that reminds you of somebody, listen to the lyrics, guys. I find this so fascinating. In group on Wednesday, we had somebody new. I have an online development group called Spiritual Development Group. It's a closed group, not open to the public. But if you ever want to have a visitor's pass, let me know. We'll give you a visitor's pass to see if you vibe with your tribe. Great people, lots of learning, lots of fun. And she was new to the group, but she gave it a go at mediumship for the group and did a really fantastic job. And she brought through a song called The Mamas and the Papas. And the song name was California Dreamin'. And wouldn't you know it, one of the people in the groups actually, on her phone, she actually had named her daughter's name on the phone, California Dreamin', and actually showed the group. It was right there on the phone. So the lyrics, and when you listen to the lyrics of a song, it can really have a deeper meaning for you of what the spirit world is trying to say to you, what messages it may be trying to convey. Like I said, you may be having a rough go in life, and they may just come through just to say, hey, we're here to support you. Just to say hi, that we're not gone, that we're very close to you. We're actually closer to you now than we ever were in the physical journey, because they're not limited by space, by time, by dimensions. You know, I always kind of look at the spirit world, and my understanding of the spirit world, it's kind of like trying to understand God. It's like we put our labels on and we put ways to try to identify and understand what is beyond death. But I've always looked at it as there is no time in the spirit world, because we're the only species that pays to live here, measures our life by time, and creates our own drama, fear, and worry. So in the spirit world, for me, in my understanding and my studies of the spirit world, is it's all happening simultaneously, past, present, future, because there is no time. They don't need to measure their life by time. Like, we live our lives based on a clock that goes around in a 365 or 24/7, 365 modality. But really, we don't, you know, time is an illusion. And for those of you that have experienced time as an illusion, like myself, usually in a traumatic scenario or a car accident. I know a friend of mine who's a police officer, retired now, but he had been shot at, and I remember him telling me that time slowed down when the gun went off, and he could actually see and feel, almost like the Matrix, the bullets coming at him. So that shows you that time can be changed and altered. So it's just kind of interesting, and like I said, I envision that the spirit world is happening simultaneously with our world, blending with our world. And again, how do you have an up and or down? Let's just apply the science real quick. And if somebody can explain it to me, I'm all ears. But we live in a round planet. Now, there is a theory that there are a few people that believe that the Earth is flat. I haven't found evidence to support that. But how do you have an up or down in a circle? So if you take a circle, I'll use my wedding ring for example. How do you have an up or down in a circular format? So heaven, hell, up and down. The reason we say that is because when we leave our bodies, and I've had a near-death experience, we tend to rise up. So we have this psychological approach that we're going up to somewhere. But really, I just think of it, we're moving into that etheric world, that world within our own world. So, music, a kiss from heaven, body double, seeing somebody that reminds you of somebody that's no longer here. Repeating numbers. For some of you, you may see repeating numbers. Now, I'm a numerologist, and I got into working with numbers because I've been fascinated with numbers and how numbers work. And numbers, for me, mathematics, the universal language of everything is mathematics, all based on numbers. Technology, 1010, your code behind how you're even watching me right now, the code behind the scenes is all number-based, on number sequence. So if you see repeating numbers, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1234, I see 1234 a lot, 1111, 222, 333, 444, 555, 911, or even the time or date of your loved one's passing, it's a reminder that they're still with us. So pay attention to your numbers, and I know a lot of you watching today have experience with numbers. I tend to wake up at the what we call the witching hour, where the spiritual veil is very thin, right before 3 a.m. And a lot of the meditation masters actually remind us that we should meditate to connect when it's very still and silent between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. That's the best time actually to meditate from my studies, because it's so quiet. And Rumi reminds us the more still and silent we become, the more we actually hear. So the number sequence has always been fascinating to me, and that's going to give me the first numerology card for this week. Now I know it's backwards, guys, so I'll read it to you. But I pulled the health card for you this week. So reminder just to, stay in good health. Your health is your wealth, as I like to say. The number 71 adds up to 8, which is an infinity number. So if you know the number 8, you turn it sideways, it becomes the infinity. But also the color of orange for vitality. Orange is for creativity, and also just a reminder for your health. So that's the numerology number for the week. I'm actually going to give you a totem animal spirit for the week, and I'm going to just do this right off of the spontaneous. And today I picked the bighorn sheep, or the ram. And when the ram or the bighorn sheep, that you see shows up, it's whatever you've been considering starting. Now is the time to go ahead and begin with it. Start plugging ahead, start moving ahead, be that ram, go after what you want. And this crystal for the week is actually something that I have. I'm going to try to bring it closer so you can see. It's called moldavite. And moldavite is an extraterrestrial stone. It's one of my favorite stones. It's something that I use a lot. You can look up moldavite, but moldavite is an extraterrestrial stone because it's harvested out of the area of the old Soviet Union, Russia, and it came in the form of a meteorite that slammed into this Siberia thousands and millions of years ago. But it's called moldavite. It's very expensive. You get pieces of it. This piece is like, I got this in England. This was like 20 pounds. So this is like $40 US for this little piece. But I keep this right here in front of me because it's a stone that elevates and vibrates and raises your consciousness, your frequency, and it's a cool stone called moldavite. Check it out. See if that works for you if you want to get more in tune, if you want to use your intuition and awareness more and enhance it like an amplifier for a guitar, then use some moldavite for this week. Again, the bighorn sheep or the ram, if the ram shows up in your journey this week, it's just a reminder to start considering starting what you've been thinking about doing in that project. And I always say that things are born twice, first in our mind and then what we do to take action to put into our reality and in other people's realities. So again, we're talking about how the unseen spirit world connects to our world. You can get these tips through the Alexa or Echo app. Just ask Alexa to open up Positive Living. You'll hear me. I've got 15 tips that'll be streaming throughout 2019 of different ways that the spirit world can connect with us on a daily basis. I love it. I get dimes and pennies from heaven all the time from my brothers. My mom, who's watching, she would attest that she actually has a tattoo on her arm of a feather because she finds feathers all the time. And when you find a feather appears when loved ones are near or around us, and they inspire us for hope. It actually transcends hope, and that's what the feather means. So if you find feathers of different birds, I don't know if I'd hold on to them because birds are not necessarily the cleanest animal out there, and they can carry germs and disease. But if you find a feather, it could just be on the ground, and it's just a reminder that your loved one is very close to you at that time, and just a thought away. So, and I always remind people, just take a big breath in. Put a smile on your face. Think of the loved one that you want to connect with, and you'll get an image right here in your mind. The third eye that we call it. It's also called your clairvoyance, and it's just another sense that you're using in conjunction with the known 5 senses. Another way that they can come through is through the power of nature, and I'll finish up with this on nature because nature is our greatest teacher. It's our greatest connector. It's our greatest healer. We design a lot engineering off of nature, but if you have nature signs. Ladybugs, deer, crows, eagles, butterflies, dragonflies, hummingbirds, red cardinals, etc., dolphins, whales, that come across your path, whether in the real world or something you see on TV or in a magazine, that's them trying to get their attention. And they'll literally get your attention through a series of events because they're working hard energetically to connect with you because they don't have a voice. So it's hard to communicate when you don't have vocal cords to communicate. So they'll find other ways to communicate with you. Again, through your mind, through your heart, through your stomach, which we call the solar plexus or the Montipora, the jewel on the hill. It's where we say trust your gut. That's where the butterflies come in. That's how the etheric world and those that live there can connect with us. Sometimes it might feel like an energetic warmth over your whole body. That's the power of love. They may feel like spider webs kind of on the back of your ear. That's them actually trying to reach out and connect with you with your energy. Not to do anything with possession. They're not here to take you over and possess you and everything you see in Hollywood. It does not work that way. And I get a lot of people that say, well, what about ghosts and how ghosts work? In the laws of physics as we understand today, you're either here or you're there. Energy always has to be traveling somewhere. Energy just doesn't linger and stay in spot. You may be picking up on something that's residual energy, which means something like a loop that you can tap into, but not an actual somebody that's there to scare you. And I've been doing this work for a while, and I haven't had a situation that would lead me to believe that there is that ghost haunting stuff, because it just doesn't make sense to me from an intelligence standpoint of the spirit world. And again, you're either here or you're there. And the spirit world will cross that etheric plane, that threshold, that rainbow bridge, if you will. That's why I love, if you've seen the movie Coco, if you haven't seen it, it's awesome. It's a great visual aspect of how those cross the rainbow bridge to connect with us. And it's very much like what we call a threshold, just crossing a threshold and connecting to our physical world from the etheric world. So again, a kiss from heaven through the power of music and the lyrics, feathers, which represent hope, pennies or coins from heaven, which, it's just that they're a thought away, nature signs, different animals, body doubles, seeing body doubles, and of course, electrical. They come through lights, they come through phones, they'll drain your batteries down, they're using energy all the time. So again, Nikola Tesla teaches us if you want to unlock the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, your world starts to change. So, just want to thank you for hanging out with me today. I'll be back next week with some more tips. And again, if you want to catch these tips, just open up the Alexa app, ask to open up Ariel's Positive Living app, or set the app up on your Amazon account, and that way you'll be able to actually get tips throughout 2019. Again, I've only shared a few tips today. I've got about 15, but it's what I call signs, symbols, synergy, and synchronistic scenarios of when the spirit world or the unseen world connects to our world. So I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me. I'll be back next Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can also catch me this Wisdom Wednesday over on Inspired Living Radio. It's our internet-based radio show, broadcast around the world from any device, no username or password needed. This week we're going to be talking about feng shui and how feng shui works and how to set up your house. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I just want to thank you for hanging out, and until our next soul adventure together, be kind, caring, compassionate, and I'll see you next week for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, and take care. Namaste.